You probably rewound that intro, or maybe you're already wondering if this is even the right video, or if you should have kept scrolling. And now you're thinking about the fact that you're thinking about it. Yeah, hi, this one's for you. Most people think overthinking is just worrying too much, like it's some nervous habit, like biting your nails. Except instead of your nails, it's every conversation you've had since 2009. But that explanation, it completely misses what's actually happening inside your mind. Because overthinking isn't random, it isn't useless, and it definitely isn't weakness. In fact, it's your brain trying to protect you, just in a way that's gone too far. So let's actually go there. Your brain has something called the default mode network. It activates the moment you stop focusing on the outside world. This is the system responsible for replaying the past, imagining the future, analyzing social situations, and trying to make sense of everything. For most people, it turns on, then quiets down. But for overthinkers, it doesn't turn off. It runs in the background constantly, loud, relentless, exhausting. But here's the part most people don't understand. The real question isn't what part of the brain is active. It's why it refuses to stop. Because your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's actually doing something incredibly sophisticated. There's a difference between reflection and rumination. Reflection helps you move forward. Rumination traps you in a loop. You're not solving the problem. You're replaying it over and over. Same thoughts, different angles, no resolution. And here's the worst part. The more you think, the worse you feel. And the worse you feel, the more you think. It's a loop. Because deep down, there's a belief. If I just think long enough, I'll figure it out. But you don't. You just end up lying awake at 2 a.m., mentally arguing with a version of reality that doesn't exist anymore. So where does this come from? A lot of overthinkers didn't just become this way. They adapted into it. Maybe you grew up in an environment where things felt unpredictable. Not necessarily dangerous in an obvious way, but uncertain. You didn't always know how someone would react, what mood they'd be in, or if you were doing something wrong. So your brain learned something important. If I think ahead, I'll be safe. And it worked. It helped you read people, avoid conflict, stay one step ahead. The problem is, you're still doing it now, even when you don't need to. A simple text message becomes a full investigation. A facial expression becomes a hidden meaning. A small moment becomes a huge story. Because your brain doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a socially uncomfortable moment. To it, stress is stress, and your body reacts the same way. Now there's a specific type of overthinking that hits differently, and that's the one focused on people, how they see you, what they think about you. Whether you said something wrong, you replay conversations, searching for the exact moment you might have messed up. You rewrite messages, not because you don't know what to say, but because you're trying to control how it will be received. Every possible interpretation, every possible reaction. You're not just communicating, you're predicting. And if that sounds like you, that's not weakness. That's empathy, just without an off switch. Think about this. A normal person cancels plans in seconds. Hey, sorry, can we reschedule? Done. An overthinker writes it, deletes it, rewrites it, removes sorry, adds it back. Worries it sounds cold, changes wording 3 times, maybe even sends it to a friend first, then finally sends something almost identical to the original, and then reads it again, just to make sure it didn't sound wrong. The exhausting part, you give other people so much understanding, but almost none to yourself. You'll spend an hour reassuring someone they're not a burden, and then lie awake convincing yourself that you are. Same mind, different rules. There's also something else happening here. The more you try to stop overthinking, the worse it gets. Ever tried to not think about something? It doesn't work. Because suppression creates pressure, and pressure creates rebound. The thought comes back stronger, which means every time someone tells you, just stop thinking about it, it actually makes it worse. Now here's something important. Overthinking isn't random. It follows patterns. You don't overthink everything. You overthink the things that matter, the people you care about, the decisions that feel important, the moments that carry meaning. which tells you something powerful. Your anxiety is pointing at your values. It's just expressing them in the worst way possible. And then there's rest, or the lack of it. Overthinkers don't struggle with activity. They struggle with stillness, because the moment everything goes quiet, the thoughts get louder. So you stay busy, scrolling, watching, working, distracting, because distraction feels like control. But it's temporary, and eventually, the backlog catches up. Understanding all of this won't suddenly stop it, and it's not supposed to, because the goal isn't to eliminate your thoughts. The goal is to change your relationship with them. Instead of asking, "How do I stop this?" ask, "What is this trying to protect me from?" And more importantly, does that threat still exist? Because most of the time, it doesn't. Your brain is reacting to something that's no longer there. It's just, well practiced. So no, the goal isn't a quiet mind. That might not happen, and chasing it will only frustrate you more. The real goal? To look at your thoughts and say, "I see what you're doing. I understand why you're here. But I get to decide how much attention you get." That's control, not silence. And honestly, that's most of the work. If this felt a little too accurate, you're not alone. And if you want more content like this, make sure you subscribe and stick around, because we're just getting started.